The Year to Live project post. Wow, this was the very first post I wrote after coming up with the idea for my project. And the project was to live all of 2016 as if it were my last year alive. Now think about that. Answer this question. What would you do if this was your last year? Now this is something we've all heard, right? It's common. It's a question. It's like a HR question or a life coach question. But it's a beautiful one if you can take it from here and then drop it down even lower. Up here, it's, I would travel, I would go to Paris, I would, etc. But if you bring it down here, it's, I would call that person and tell them I love them. I would reach out to this person and mend this relationship that has gotten disconnected. And if we take it even lower, it may be, I would change my whole life. And that's terrifying. Now, I came up with this question, I think, for 3 reasons. Right? I came up with this project for 3 reasons. 1 was permission. 2 was to honor space. And 3 was perspective. So permission, this question, what would you do if it were your last year alive? If you embody that, it gave me permission, and it gives you permission to do all of this stuff you wouldn't do otherwise. Right? Suddenly it's okay to make that phone call. It's okay to change your life. It's okay to pick up the guitar. It's okay to enroll in school. It's okay to drop out of school. It's okay to ask that girl out. It's okay to break up with that person. It's to say, wow, time is now a factor. And this concept of someday has gone away because someday ends 12 months from now. So all of a sudden it's this beautiful permission. Yeah, it's okay for me to live out of my truck. It's okay for me to volunteer. It's okay for me to travel. It's okay for me to experience these things that for some reason I don't give myself permission to. But people on their deathbeds, and I know this because I've worked with them in my own year, all of a sudden they have permission to do anything. Nothing matters anymore. And so I wanted to give myself that permission and ask you to give yourself that permission at whatever stage of life you're in. I was about to start my 40th year, and I didn't want to wait till my 80th or 85th and go, okay, this is the one. I'm going to go back and make amends where I can, and I'm hopefully going to live this last life or this last breath, this last year in peace. So it was permission. Now, 2, it was honoring space. I had had a huge amount of space opened up in my life. At the time, I was married, and I had a child on the way, and we lost that pregnancy. Huge amount of space open. And my marriage ended in a day. Or I found out in a day. It's over. Even more space now opened. That same week I found out my business relationship was changing and I'd be leaving my business. Boom. Talk about space being opened up. Looking at it one way. It's loss. It's all loss, right? I had this and now I have this. I had everything and now I have nothing. I'm the guy who had everything. And now I'm the guy who has nothing. Or, there's just been a huge amount of space opened up. And in this moment, I have the potential to fill that space back however I want. By design, consciously by design. Not just unconsciously letting it get filled with random ideas or random activities. How do I want to fill this space that is my life? So I really wanted to honor that opening. I didn't want to just start dating again. I didn't want to just start another business in the next town, which was the advice I was getting. I wanted to honor the space. And if you are dealing with loss, or the idea of loss, take a deep breath. And look at the space that's been created. And then ask yourself how you want to fill that space. And now the third piece of this was perspective. I was about to turn 40. I was about to be unemployed. I was about to be divorced. I was about to be childless. This was not how I planned my life and what my metric of success for a 40-year-old American male was going to be. It was actually the opposite. It was abject failure in one perspective. But I didn't want to lean on that perspective. I didn't want to embody that perspective. I didn't want to hold that perspective or say, yeah, this is my life. So instead, I created another perspective and said, oh, I have pure freedom. I can go anywhere. I can do anything. I'm not responsible for anyone but myself. I can walk completely out of my old life and into my new one in any way that I want. I'm welcome to go back to parts of my old life, and I'm welcome to take them and build them into my new one. But before I could do any of that, and before you can do any of that, if you're dealing with loss, is a perspective shift. It didn't change what happened. It didn't make me reconcile with my wife. It didn't bring our child back. It didn't make me go back to my business. Those external factors were still the same. But it changed everything about how I thought and how I felt, which then changed everything about how I interacted with the world. So this one question, what would you do if it were your last year alive, is a huge perspective shifter. Doesn't change the externalities, which is fine because externalities are what they are. All that matters is how you relate to them in a day-to-day. So it lets you change perspective. It gives you permission. Right? If you knew today was your last day, just today, who would you call? Who would you reach out to? What are those little things that have kind of been gnawing at you, even for years, that you go, you know what, this is happening right now? There's a quote or a saying that the busiest day of the year is the day before you go on vacation. Right? That's the day that we go and we run to the store and we do all our laundry and we check all these boxes and we call the cable company and blah, blah, blah. Now imagine if that vacation day was your last year or your last day on Earth. What would you be getting done in the meantime? And why are you waiting until it's too late, or it may be too late? Right? Why not take every breath from this day forward full and in peace, as opposed to just taking your last? So that was the perspective I had when I wrote my Year to Live project post and when I came up with the idea. And I hope these ideas are helping you. I hope they do help you. Please subscribe below, share this video. Feel free to contact me anytime if you have questions, if you want to let me know how this has impacted you.